Robyn and I haven't really synced up. We're in different places, and it's an in and out. It's like sometimes I want to keep it, sometimes I want to sell it. And Robyn knows we need to sell it, but sometimes wants to keep it.
Let's just every time I'm out at Coyote Pass, I'm just like, my heart aches. And no, it's just been so difficult and so.
So now Kody's suddenly nostalgic for the old him. You know, the one who could at least pretend to have some fun. Like those horrendous dance moves and cringy jokes that might have worked if he weren't so annoyingly smug about them. But really, it feels like he had to shove that version of himself in the closet to make Robyn happy. And of course, that's totally on him, right? But deep down, I think Kody's frustration isn't with everyone else, it's with her. He's angry because, let's be honest, Robyn has always been the one calling the shots. She set all these ridiculous rules about how he was supposed to treat the other wives, and naturally, he fell right in line. I mean, Robyn is so out of touch. She claimed she was voted off the island, but let's not pretend. She was the one who turned the entire family dynamic upside down, yanking Kody and his attention away from the other wives. She literally convinced him he was the one exiled from his own life. How? By building this tiny, isolated world with her kids and making it impossible for anyone else to step foot in it. But oh, poor Robyn, right? She's the victim here. When do we ever see Robyn actually joke or laugh? Not those forced, awkward giggles, but real, spontaneous joy? Spoiler alert, we don't. And generosity? Please, the only time we see her do anything nice for Kody or anyone else is when it's clearly part of the act. It's as if she's meticulously pulling the strings from day one, and Kody, poor Kody, fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Seriously, watch those old family videos. Kody used to be an engaged, goofy dad. They were running a polygamist family pretty smoothly, all things considered. Sure, I can't stand Kody, but there's no denying he's been played, and it shows. Robyn didn't just take over the family, she took over him. And now he's stuck pretending he doesn't miss the version of himself that was allowed to have fun, even if it was embarrassingly bad dancing. And that whole small and quiet life Kody talks about with Robyn. That's code for boring as hell. How do I know? Because he's the kind of guy who needs constant attention. He gets bored easily, craves being the center of everything, and expects to be catered to like a king. It's textbook stuff, the behavior of someone who thrives on drama and avoids responsibility like the plague. And shocker, he's probably never had to do anything for anyone but himself, unless it involves looking busy so he doesn't get called out. Now he's in a little bubble with Robyn, probably longing for the days when he was juggling responsibilities and getting attention from multiple sources. Well, guess what, Kody? You walked straight into Robyn's trap, and now you two can wallow in your misery together. You both got exactly what you deserve. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. OMG, Kody playing the victim is honestly exhausting. So I spent 10 days in bed with COVID a few weeks ago, and no, I didn't get it from any of the traveling wives, the adult kids, or Robyn's nanny. Naturally, I decided to binge watch Sister Wives from the start. Now, I'm on season 19, episode 4, and let me tell you, I'm so over Kody blaming everyone for everything while taking zero responsibility for anything. And Robyn, she's just feeding his ego nonstop. But seriously, what happened to Robyn's daughters? They used to be these bright, happy kids with real personalities, and now they're just sad little mini-me's of Robyn, always crying and looking miserable. It's honestly heartbreaking to watch. I mean, just picture what it would be like if Kody actually got sick. The funniest part? All the ridiculous protocols they put in place to make sure Robyn's little tribe was safe, which ended up alienating the rest of the family. And guess what? It was Robyn's tribe that brought COVID into the house and got everyone sick, except for one person. But of course, Kody isn't going to admit that. You know what the tell-alls really need? A Tamarin haul. I'm rewatching those, and let me tell you, she knows how to handle these people. She doesn't just show the clip and move on, no. She calls them out, asks the tough questions, then follows up like a pro. Too bad she's moved on, because this season desperately needs a host like her. There's a lot of shady behavior from Kody and Robyn that needs to be exposed. I'm so over Robyn's crocodile tears, trying to avoid any real answers, and Kody just flat out refusing to talk about anything that paints him in a bad light. If they're going to keep featuring Kody and Robyn, despite their minimal contributions, they need to be held accountable. Like, why does Kody feel the need to constantly remind everyone that Robyn comes before his kids? I'll hold out a hand, but I'm not giving up my relationship with Robyn for my children. Who even asked you to, Kody? I've never heard any of the original 13 say, please leave Robyn. And why does Robyn have to chaperone her adult daughters to church? Are they seriously incapable of going without their mom? She's always so involved in their church playdates, but I've got questions. Also, the surprise when they weren't invited to Christine's wedding? Really? What did she expect? A red carpet? Then there's Robyn's complete inability to understand that Mary, Christine, and Janelle have the right to leave Kody, just like she did with her ex. She needs to get over it. Kody doesn't get a free pass to keep working things out when they've made it clear they're done. But hey, let's talk about when Robyn was mad that Mary left, even though Robyn barely acknowledged her. She ignored texts and calls, wouldn't spend time with her, but now she's upset about Mary walking away? Sure, Robyn, sure. I would love to see them questioned individually and then brought together on the couch. It's been ages since they were both under the spotlight at the same time, since the cloak of charity has been removed. Let's see the truth come out for once. And Kody? Always throwing tantrums, putting conditions on what he'll answer and what he won't. Why didn't they ever bring up Isabel's surgery in the tell-all? You can bet it's not because they were worried about her privacy. It's because it doesn't paint Kody in the best light. Kody's love for Christine is a fascinating tale to rewatch, especially during season 17, where his heartbreak when Christine decided to leave is on full display. It's almost like we got to watch a masterclass in narcissism as he marched through the stages of grief. Honestly, I'm not sure he ever truly loved her at first. He probably loved what she could do for him, until Robyn came along, of course. Then it became clear. Christine had to earn Kody's love all over again, because how dare she exist without constantly stroking his fragile ego? Ironically, Kody seemed more broken up about Christine leaving than Janelle. But can we blame him? Janelle didn't ask much of him. Christine, though, she was the plural wife. Her departure was the emotional equivalent of pulling the thread that kept the whole family from unraveling. Without Christine, Kody's little domestic empire would have collapsed much sooner. It's almost like Kody needed Christine, even if he didn't want to admit it. Without her, the family was a mess. He even said so himself. Christine kept the peace, settled him down, and somehow made Janelle and Mary stop wanting to strangle him. But let's not forget the real issue here, Robyn. According to Janelle, Kody was practically parroting Robyn's opinion about how awful Christine was. It was obvious, Robyn wasn't just playing matchmaker, she was on a mission to get Christine out of the picture. She was the threat to his world, and Robyn did everything she could to make sure Kody saw it that way. It was classic manipulation at its finest. And let's be real, Kody was never cut out to be a plural husband. He created chaos by splitting everyone into factions, throwing whichever wife was in his bad books under the bus. The whole thing was a house of cards built on a shaky foundation, and Christine leaving was just the inevitable collapse. Did Kody ever truly love her? Maybe at some point, but by the time she left, I doubt there was much love left on either side. His ego was shattered. He couldn't fathom someone walking away from him. After all, in Kody's world, he was the prize. Remember when Kody and Robyn went to Christine's for the last goodbye? Kody strutted up to the porch like it was a red carpet event, expecting a spread of his favorite foods, all served up with a side of gratitude for being Kody Brown. When there was no party and no fanfare, he was ready to pack it up and leave. Talk about entitlement. He wanted her to cater to him, play the perfect wife, and serve him while the kids fell in line. Honestly, Christine deserved better than that pathetic man. When was he ever a good provider? A good father? A good companion? He wasn't. Christine had been a single mom for years by the time she took off that wedding ring. The marriage was over long before that final, dramatic exit. Kody's business ventures and his questionable financial decisions are definitely a source of endless amusement. He talked to the realtor about needing space to park a trailer that he used for Janelle, so okay, fine, that makes sense. But then he dropped the bomb that he'd had to shut down businesses. What kind of businesses need raw land to store junk? Maybe he's running some sort of hoarder's paradise. Or maybe it's just the most impractical collection of things that are slowly turning into rust. Then there's the issue with the flapped trailer. Why did he even buy one? He could have just had water delivered, but instead, he drops cash on a massive flatbed. Classic Kody. He's the type of guy who thinks every purchase is an investment, but PSA. Trailers, vehicles, outdoor toys, they are depreciating assets, not golden tickets to financial security. Especially when they're left outside to rot in the elements, turning into a money-sucking pit. But we all know how this goes. Kody sees someone trying to offload a big trailer, probably for a price that's way higher than it's worth, and somehow talks the seller down by, what, $100? And in Kody's mind, that's a win. He probably congratulates himself, thinking he's the king of deals, while the seller is just rolling their eyes like, yeah, okay, take it. I just want it gone. Kody also likes to think of himself as some sort of savvy businessman, but we've seen him dabble in a variety of questionable ventures, like selling guns and ammo. Remember when he was planning to build that industrial barn or living space for his business? What happened to that? Did the flatbed trailer even come into play here? I feel like he just bought it on a whim, convinced it was a good deal. And let's not forget how Janelle was hauling her own water until she finally moved into an apartment. What was the trailer even doing during that time? It seems like it was just another one of Kody's investments that never really got used. In places like the Midwest, where people tend to hold on to everything, especially if they call themselves small business owners, you end up with a lot of junk. This is especially true for people like Kody who seem to acquire random items, boxes of books, old cars, mini bikes, golf clubs, random camping gear, and think they can store it all with some fancy new trailer. I had a neighbor who's a perfect example of this type of mentality. He owned a successful telecom business, and even in his 80s, he was still at it, despite his wife passing away. One day, he tells me to borrow something, so we head over to his land south of town. This property was a whole other level of hoarding: old RVs, equipment, piles of junk, and even a few old trailers with homeless people living in them. There had been a couple of guys living under a bridge, and when the city had no plan to help them, my neighbor let them crash in the trailers. They stuck around, of course, because, hey, free place to stay. It's kind of like Kody's approach to life, acquiring stuff, buying trailers, and just holding on to whatever he can, convinced it's all going to turn into something amazing eventually. In reality, it's just clutter, a ton of clutter. The drama of Christine. I'm deep into the part where Christine packs up and leaves, heading to her new house in Utah, and talks about her room finally being all her own. And I'm not just crying, I'm full-on sobbing. It's like the emotional release I didn't know I needed. Honestly, all I want to do right now is watch a marathon of shows where women finally get the guts to leave their trashy husbands. At least that kind of chaos feels like a real happy ending. Robyn's out here calling herself Kody's whipping boy, like it's some random casual comment. Oh, okay, Sobin. I'm sure you just so happened to throw that into conversation for no reason whatsoever. And then she says, they handed him to me? Well, yeah, babe, they sure did now. Go on and keep him. Honestly, Robyn probably actually believes that nonsense. Like, remember when she claimed Kody was yelling at her when she practically launched herself off the four-wheeler? Oh, please, she can't take a lick of criticism or anything less than full-blown worship. She said all kinds of revealing things, though, like, I'm the idiot who got left behind, or the classic Kody's murder face. And let's not forget her little rant about always having him around and never getting a break. Sounds like a real romantic situation. Wouldn't be shocked at all if the tension between Robyn and the other wives started with Kody playing his little triangulation game. Robyn's too busy playing the victim to realize he's stirring up all this chaos. Meanwhile, the OG3 are still trying to figure out just how much of their problems were actually Kody's doing. I just caught up and heard him say he's going to hold out his hand for his kids, but he's not letting go of the hand he's holding, Robyn's, of course. Then he goes on to say, I will not cut off Robyn to have a relationship with my children. Well, no wonder none of his kids with M, J, and C want anything to do with him. The whole family fell apart the minute Robyn entered the picture, because Kody clearly picked her and her kids over everyone else. And guess what? Robyn knew exactly how to play that to her advantage. I'm betting none of his kids are even putting conditions on seeing him. It's just classic Kody being a lousy dad and coming up with excuses. Seriously, he sucks. But here's what really gets me. He's holding the door open, but it's up to his kids to walk through it. No, you're the one who needs to walk through that door, Kody. It doesn't matter that they're adults now. Your kids will always see you as their parent. That's a role that sticks with them forever, shaping how they view themselves for the rest of their lives. You're not their peer just because you're both grown-ups now. You're the parent. They're the kids. Always. So how about you get your act together and start acting like the responsible parent you chose to be when you decided to have kids in the first place? Where did the money go? Sometimes I can't help but wonder if Kody was blowing it all on gambling, or if he just had no clue where to put the cash. It's wild that he'd constantly complain about not having money, while he rants about how they need to work. Yet the moms were all working, running businesses, and collecting checks from TLC. Meanwhile, Kody's over here stressing about mortgages. But let's not forget, he's awful with money. The whole rush to leave Vegas made no sense. Kody could have handled moving to Arizona a whole lot better, but instead, it was just a disaster. Chaotic, expensive, and poorly managed financially. Seriously though, do you think Kody made them deposit their checks into his account and just kept most of it for himself? Think about it. They had 4 big houses, each with its own hefty mortgage, and 18 kids to support. After the move to Vegas, Miri was really the only one working. The rest of them were either doing the show or pretending to job hunt for the cameras. Then, they had to agree to take a huge pay cut just to keep the show on the air. It's like they were in a financial mess from the start. So I'm watching Sister Wives Season 12, Episode 13, The Tell-All, and they're discussing Mary's visit to a gay bar with Leon and their partner. The host asks the other Rents if they'd have joined, and Kody, with all the charm of a rock, says, "It would depend on my mood because, frankly, I get hit on a lot." Now my question is, where exactly is Kody getting hit on? Who in their right mind is out there actively pursuing this man to the point where he might turn down a gay bar invite? Because, let's be honest, Kody's the kind of guy who probably thinks the cashier at the grocery store is flirting with him when she says, "Have a nice day." What would Kody do in this hypothetical world where Robyn suddenly decided the C19 rules were dumb and refused to follow them? Honestly, the possibilities are endless, but let's be real. We'll never know, but imagine the drama. Would Kody have just moved into Mary's place to continue dodging responsibility for his choices? Maybe he would have grabbed a solo apartment to give us all more material for future seasons. Or just maybe he would have ditched the rules entirely. Who even knows at this point? In the early days of the pandemic, when the whole family was on video calls, and Janelle was throwing out the suggestion of using quarantine as a bonding experience, Robyn was the only one hesitant, acting like it was the worst idea ever. "You really think that's a good idea?" she asked. And of course, there she went, talking about what her doctor said, twisting it in true Robyn fashion. Kody wasn't even talking about isolating in the first place, but there she was, throwing out her doctor's advice as if it was gospel. But you know how it goes. Robyn must have cried to Kody about how vulnerable she and Saul were, thanks to past infections, and used that to convince him that protecting her was his top priority. As if Kody didn't already have a built-in excuse to focus all his attention on her. Oh, and let's not forget, this meant more time alone with her. What a convenient reward for Kody. The best part is how their supposed concern for safety never added up. Kody was literally going house to house every other day. How does that fit with any quarantine effort? Oh, and the nanny? Absolutely absurd. You have Kody and Robyn holed up at home all the time, but they need a nanny to help out. Classic. The cherry on top is Christine calling it out so perfectly, and Kody couldn't even respond. He had to turn to Robyn like, "What should I say here? Can't make this stuff up." Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.